Hi, welcome back to the channel. My name's Lee. In today's video, I want to discuss the surging oil prices and how that is likely to affect UK inflation. Now, the reason I'm talking about UK inflation is because that's the country I'm originally from. Currently, I'm living here in Shenzhen, China, but I keep a close eye on both UK politics, American politics, Chinese politics. I have kind of a keen interest in geopolitics. So today I've been following that oil price over the last few days. Now, 3 or 4 days ago, it was trading at around $100 per barrel. And today, as I make this video, it's at almost $115 per barrel. Now, this is obviously because of the Russian Ukraine crisis, but I sort of want to give my thoughts around this. So currently I see in the media that the UK, the EU and America almost seem to be in a competition about who can impose the most sanctions on Russia for their invasion of Ukraine. Now, something I will note is that there's this massive rush and all these people, cheering on these sanctions. But the first point I'd like to make is I didn't see any of these sanctions on NATO countries or the US when Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, Libya, the list goes on, when those countries were invaded. So that's the first point I'd like to make. But I feel that the governments of UK, USA, Canada, Australia, all these countries that are sort of almost competing in a competition to impose sanctions against Russia are doing this very, very quickly without really thinking too much about it. And one point I'd like to make is that before the announcement was made to ban large parts of the Russian banking system from the SWIFT system, the governments were advised by Wall Street banks, by large European banks, and also the Federal Reserve that this really is not a good idea. But to gain political points and what have you, they went ahead and did it anyway. Now, I think over the next sort of months and years, these countries are going to have to deal with all the unintended consequences of what they are currently doing. Now, as I mentioned, oil has hit $114, $115 a barrel. That's the spot price, that's Brent crude. If you look at the May futures, they're about $1 higher. Now, what futures means is that countries buy oil in advance. Generally, you don't buy it like the day you use it, so you buy it in advance. So what it means is oil they're ordering for May, they need to pay almost $116 a barrel for. Now, if I take the UK here, inflation is at a 10-year high in the UK. It's currently at 4.9%. Now, the two previous peaks before that were back in 2011, where it was 4.5%, and then before that in 2008, around the time of the financial crisis, it was 4.8%. And I think this is going to go even higher because many people are currently receiving letters through their door from their energy companies explaining that energy is going to go up in April by an average of about 50%. 50%. And I also note that today petrol is at an average of £1.51 per litre in the UK. Now, I'm old enough to remember when petrol was priced in gallons, and that equates to £6.85 per gallon. Now, I'm old enough to remember the outrage that there was when petrol hit £1 a gallon. £1 a gallon, and that's really not that long ago. Now, all that's happening by these sanctions on Russia is that it's stopping people from wanting to buy Russian oil. Certainly the countries that have sanctioned Russia, and all that's going to do is push it higher. And I hear rumours now circulating around some of these countries that they're going to ban the purchase of Russian oil altogether. Now, if they do that, oil will go even higher. So you can expect the price of fuel at the pumps to also go higher. Now, that also has a knock-on effect, because not only is that a big driver of inflation, and the reason that is that all goods are transported around the country. That's a large part of the price of goods. If you look at bulky goods like canned drinks, bottles of beer, a lot of the cost of those goods is in transportation. So obviously, if the price of fuel goes up, the price of transportation goes up. Now, you know that it's very unlikely that most of these large corporate companies are going to absorb that cost. They will just pass that on to the consumer, which in turn will stoke inflation. So not only have Britain's got a household energy surge coming in the pipeline, but they're going to be paying even more for their, the fuel to put in the cars, and more for goods on the shelves in the stores. And also, Russia are a large food exporter. So if these sanctions start affecting food prices from Russia, you're going to see even higher food prices, which again will add to inflation. Something important to notice as well is that inflation is compound. It doesn't go down, it compounds each year. So who are the benefactors of this rising oil price? Well, the benefactors will be countries like China and India and Pakistan, who buy large quantities of oil from Russia, because it's highly likely they will be buying that at a discounted rate from the market price. Just like China buy huge amounts of oil from Iran, India and China will buy a lot of oil from Russia as well. And I would imagine that over the next few months, the imports of oil to India and China and possibly Pakistan will significantly increase, because they'll take advantage of that discounted price they're getting. And as I say, I think the losers are going to be these countries that are applying sanctions to Russia without really thinking the consequences of those actions through. Anyway, I'd like to know what you think in the comments down below. Anyway, as always, for now, take care.